So I belong to this organization called Save the Hills, which we started in 2007. I also belong to the Darjeeling Himalaya Initiative, and that's why I'm here. I'm glad that Roshan, Priya, and the whole gang here, Deepen, are taking this wonderful initiative to do this talk series, and also congratulations for your 25 years. Right, moving ahead, all the data that I'm going to quote in this talk on disasters, etc., will be from reputable media outlets and from magazines such like Down to Earth, Scientific American, and Nature.com. None of the data is made up by me, okay? So having said that, we are talking about now, we have entered the era of man-made natural disasters. This, I'm not wrong, is a phrase coined by President Barack Obama. So what is happening with our disasters is that sometimes overtly, sometimes very subtly, but always you will find that disasters have some human imprint on them, you know. So to a large extent, maybe we can do something about the disasters, right? And today we are going to talk about these hazards: the fire, earthquake, landslides, avalanches, gulf, and combination of these, which is called a multi-hazard, okay? We are not going to talk about COVID-19 and all that, okay? So this is regarding what we are going to talk about. All these disasters occur in these mountains to various degrees, okay? So I'm going to our own home firstly. Let's talk about our own home. The Himalayas, that arc which you see up there, okay? It's a wonderful place. It's one of the wonders of nature, okay? It's 2,500 kilometers long, approximately 250 kilometers across, okay, depending on where you are. It has some of the highest mountains, about 7 odd mountains, which are the highest in the world, all above 8,000 meters, okay? It also has some of the largest rivers in the world running off the Himalayas, okay? And together with the rivers, it gives livelihood, sustenance directly or indirectly to about 4 billion people, right? Unfortunately, many of these rivers are not flowing into the sea. There are so many dams along these rivers that these rivers dry up in between only. They never flow into the sea, okay? So there was a very famous saying somewhere, I'm not quoting it correctly, but if you want to reach the sea, follow a river. That doesn't is no longer truthful, okay? What it has is that in this area, there is a collection of about 600 odd dams which India and China are both building, okay? And also rising temperatures are resulting in our glaciers melting, snow melting, and that of course is forming the almost 8,800 lakes that we have, out of which 200 odd are classified as dangerous. So therefore, we have GLOF, okay, glacial lake outburst flood, okay? So this is what the Himalayas is about, 600 odd dams coming up, and of course, we'll talk about that later, a lot of human interference. By the way, the Himalayas is the youngest fold mountain in the world. We are just about 40 million years old. The Aravalli is which runs in Rajasthan, is 1.8 billion years old, okay? The Ghats are again a couple of 1,000 million years old. Our Himalayas are just 40 odd million years old. And what I would like to quote is, again, Gopal Krishna Gandhi, who was our governor many years ago. He said, these mountains are young and therefore naughty. So our mountains are definitely naughty, right? So I'm just showing you a map. This is the map of the Geological Survey of India. GSI stands for Geological Survey of India, equivalent to the USGS and the BGS. BGS is in the UK. In USA, it's called the United States Geological Survey, and in our case, it's GSI. GSI is the nodal body in the country for landslides, okay? And the blue patch is where we live. Unfortunately, that is the highest landslide prone area in the country. Okay. Of course, there are other places also, but our area is designated by the nodal body GSI as the highest, most landslide prone area. Okay, we don't have anything like the earthquake zoning where we have zone 1 to 5. Okay, and in our case, we are in zone 4. And like my friend keeps saying, he is Malay Mukul, scientist from IIT Mumbai, Earth Sciences. He says, uncle, if we are to look at the landslides which have already occurred, then we are in zone 4. But if we are to look at the landslides which the earthquakes which are about to occur, which will occur in the future, we are in zone 5. So certainly we are in a very dangerous spot where one disaster form can trigger another disaster, and therefore we live in an area which we call a multi-hazard place. Okay, where one disaster can trigger off another disaster, and it happened. It is not that I am quoting something, but in Sikkim, when the 2011 earthquake took place, here is a man who walked right through the tunnels and went up to North Sikkim. That area is still very, very unstable because of the landslides which were triggered by that earthquake. You know, our access to Nathula and all those, not Nathula, but to North Sikkim is very, very still difficult during the monsoons because of all those landslides which were triggered by that 6.8 earthquake which was in 2011. Okay, so that is what is called a multi-hazard scenario where one disaster form can trigger another. Therefore, everybody these days in the disaster world is talking about multi-hazards. Okay, where something can trigger off another thing, right? So all our early warning platforms are now looking at early warning for multi-hazards. Okay. And of course, this is the Indian, the Himalayan arc again. The black line there is the subduction zone, or the line where our plates meet. You know, the Indian plate which is grinding into the Eurasian plate on top, or the Tibetan plate, okay, and that is where the two plates meet. That is also called the line of subduction, where one plate is sliding underneath another, and unfortunately we happen to be right over it. Okay, subduction area. In fact, just now Shreya was asking me, is this a fault line? Well, you can ask Malay Mukul. Okay, but certainly our area is not the safest in the world. In fact, the USGS says the northward underthrusting of the Indian plate beneath Eurasia generates numerous earthquakes and consequently makes this area one of the most seismically hazardous regions on Earth. Okay, and if any one of you want to know, is one plate is sliding underneath another, so is land disappearing? It is. It is moving in at the rate of, I think, 4 to 5 centimeters per year, and approximately all along the Himalayas, approximately 2 football fields or more are disappearing every year, which we don't know, which we don't feel. Okay, and if you want to know more about this, please listen to Roger Bilham podcast, which I put up in Hazard Alerts. Roger Bilham is the guy who got kicked out of India for predicting these earthquakes. He predicted the earthquake that he made a statement about a nuclear power plant which was in danger of earthquake zone, and therefore government of India had banned him from coming. I believe he is now allowed to come. Okay. Otherwise, you can listen to Dr. Malay Mukul talking about earthquakes and risk in the Darjeeling Himalaya. This we got it in our YouTube channel, and you can listen to it there. Malay talked on our request in the Rotary Center in Kalimpong. Right. And this, of course, is Dr. David Petley's map on the fatal landslides which take place every year. Okay, and if you look at the map, the most black dots, each dot is one fatal landslide. Okay, so if you look at the map, most of the fatalities are taking place on the southern edge of the Himalayan arc. This is where we live. Okay, so again, if you want to listen to Dave Petley, we had the good fortune of having the entire team over in Kalimpong. So we asked him to, he talked to us, And that lecture is again on the Save the Hills YouTube channel. You can have a look. I'll leave the presentation with Roshan, so you can have a look at all these things, okay? So undoubtedly, we are in a very dangerous area, right? And adding to all this, what we have noticed is there are perceptible changes in the rainfall pattern, okay? For example, right now, I don't know how many of you will agree, because most of us live here. Winter rains, we hardly had any winter rains whatsoever worth naming, okay? Of course, the season is grouped like this, that January and February are grouped as winter months. Then March, April, May are called pre-monsoon months, okay? Then we have our solid monsoon months, 4 months, June, July, August, September. And then the post-monsoon, which is October, November, December, right? And the rainfall is something like, we should be having a minimal amount of rainfall during the winter months, but still very important for our crops, okay? But then rainfall starts increasing during the pre-monsoon period. We should be having approximately about 123 millimeters of rainfall now, but I don't think we've had anything like that. I don't know whether Sikkim has had. We clock rainfall, we measure rainfall, and we know that East Sikkim is one place which gets a lot of rainfall. Okay, so East Sikkim most probably has been having rainfall, but otherwise Darjeeling, Kalimpong, and this area, no rainfall whatsoever. Okay, but last year this was the opposite. We had excess rainfall during the winters. We had snow. Okay, what it was due to, I'm not too sure, but it was, I think, linked to the La Nina, El Nino effect. Okay. So that's what's happening. We have perceptible changes in the rainfall patterns, okay? And then, of course, we have population growth and development activities like nothing else. The Eastern Himalayas is one of the most populated areas in the Himalayas. The population is growing at a phenomenal rate. And of course, what Madam talked about tourism, the impact of tourism, where the population of Darjeeling, I think, is 1 point something, does it? And it doubles during the tourist season, and whether you have the infrastructure or the water or everything to deal with that sort of influx, we don't know. And of course, along with that is the waste management problem which creeps up. Okay, so that is what's happening between China and India. With India alone, we have constructed 83 odd hydro projects, which are all above 25 megawatts. 26 are being still constructed, and 320 are in the pipeline. And this is what the parliamentary committee, report which was there in 2019 said. I'll just read it out to you. Calling for an increase in efficiency and speed of environmental clearances and better coordination among ministries, a parliamentary committee has pushed for development of a hydropower sector in India, which it notes has not got the deserved attention despite having numerous benefits. So this is what the parliamentary committee is saying about hydropower projects in this country, that they are going to hurry up the entire process. And earlier, they were not allowing the big dams to come up, but now everything is getting cleared up under the present government. Okay? So therefore, we have many more dams coming up. Even, I think there are some things coming up in Bijanbari area where people are protesting and all that, isn't it? Right? Okay. So that is what is happening here. With all the natural problems that we have this tremendous amount of human activity which is accelerating that. Right. And just today, I got this news from today, the Statesman. There is an NHPC team. NHPC stands for National Hydropower Project Corporation, okay, which is responsible for making all our dams, okay, most of our dams, okay. They are now in Nepal, today's news, and they met the Nepalese Prime Minister to work on more dams in Nepal. Okay, what is happening? Why more dams in these areas is that, you know, our rivers are something like this, that they start off at something like 16,000 feet, like Tista, okay, and they come down to sea level within about 100 kilometers. Okay, I think about 90, 100 kilometers, something like that. Okay, now this water coming down has a lot of kinetic energy. So much of kinetic energy is there which can be transformed into electrical energy. So therefore, the lure of hydroelectric power in our area. So Arunachal Pradesh leads the thing in our area where numerous dams are coming up. And on the other side is China again doing that same thing, right? And what the Scientific American article, if you just Google for Scientific American Himalaya dams, you'll get an article which is about 2 years old, where it cautions India and China and says that supposing we have a major earthquake where our dams crack up, okay? So if the Tehri Dam cracks up, which Tehri Dam is somewhere northeast of Dehradun, if it cracks up, the water which will come out of that and it'll affect 2 million people all downstream. 2 billion people. So that's the type of thing that we are dabbling around with, okay? But without any care, I think. Nobody wants to, So all the anti-dam people, I don't know where they are heading. We all know that most probably you will get end up being labeled as anti-national somewhere. Okay, and this is what happened in Joshimath. Every time something like this sort of happens, it takes a big event to trigger our response, sadly. Still, despite the fact that the Disaster Management Act being made so that we do not only react, but we prevent, we are more prepared, we mitigate, all that. The pre-disaster where we manage our risk, despite that, we always need a wake-up call. And now the big wake-up call came in the winters this year, where we at Joshimath. And the NTPC, which was making that dam, the Tapovan Vishnugarh hydroelectric power plant, totally denies that it had anything to do with the dam construction. Just read that. It says the tunnel is at a horizontal distance of 1.1 kilometers, as if that is a lot, okay, from the outer boundary of Joshimath town, and vertically 1.1 kilometer below the ground. Construction of the tunnel in this stretch has been done through tunnel boring machine, which causes no disturbance to the surrounding rocks. This is a statement given by the NTPC. Okay? Whereas I definitely talked to one retired geologist who had done study around this area immediately after this happened. I unfortunately can't tell you the name of that person. He's a retired GSI guy, and he told me it's nothing. The whole problem is because of tunnels. Whole problem is because of tunnels, and also maybe that they have punctured an aquifer, in the tunneling. So that water has resulted in this. Okay, 800 odd houses were dislocated. They had to shift numerous places in Joshimath. Okay. And not far away from us, this is Sikkim. Sonam is sitting there. I happened to go to Pakyong in 2017. This was in anticipation of an American team which was coming. And I was horrified to see the amount of destruction which had taken place in Pakyong when they were building the airport. Numerous landslides. In fact, if you look at Dave Petley's blog and just Google for Pakyong landslides, you will see. Okay. There were 164 houses which were destroyed. Of course, they have paid the damages, etc., etc. But I'm not fully convinced that that area is totally safe, because one thing which I want to tell you is that with nature, with the mountains, please don't interfere with natural drainage. That natural drainage has taken millions of years to establish. And if we start tampering around with that natural drainage, that is going to create a lot of problems which we don't have. Here in Pakyong, they have tampered with natural drainage on the top. Okay, so this, I'm not sure whether we haven't had major rainfall in that area. Touch wood, let's hope that never happens. But the amount of, just the sheer number and the weight of rocks which they have taken to the top of that hill to make that airport is astounding. And they had multiple collaborations with foreign companies, etc., where they brought in latest technology to make this thing, and this is what happened. This is Pakyong, okay? And this is pathing, again, all Sikkim, but not with any great malice or something. But Sikkim, where we went, and we made a video of this. I just wanted to tell you this because this is a strange landslide. In the middle of the winters, with no rain whatsoever, how can you have rocks coming down for months? You know, and it was amazing. That thing, we've got the videos of that. This entire thing, that entire hill, which was almost maybe about 1,500 feet high, that rock would just tumble down, and every 15 minutes that rock would just come crushing down, you know. So we took this, we did a video, 2 videos are there, again on the Save the Hills YouTube channel. Please have a look. It was astounding what we saw. Very unusual thing, and now it's stopped. How? I don't know. But what I did ask David Petley was, maybe he says that maybe there's some unstable rock which will finish, you know, which will ultimately finish and then it'll stabilize on its own. So nothing that the humans could do in this case, you know. We just had to watch, and the people were shifted away. There were some cattle which died, etc., but no human casualties. But amazing. And another amazing thing was, this is very recent. This was 27th of March, where this is a landslide near Dikchu. Again, strange, because there's no rain, hardly any rain. The rains are coming, okay? So without any rain, again, this massive landslide had taken place. The town of Dikchu is just below this. It just missed a whole lot of what you call habitation, etc., But why are these landslides taking place? In this particular case, if you go and interview them, we've gone and interviewed them, the people of this area blame the entire landslides on the Dikchu stage 4, stage 5, whatever that NHPC dam is. They say it is because of the dam. God knows whether that's correct or not, but that is what the people say, that it is the dam activity which is causing this. Okay. And so we have this. So let's have a look at what are the types of hazards that we have. We have earthquakes and we have landslides mainly. Okay, of course we have GLOF and we have other hazards also. But then if you look at the two, earthquakes, they affect a large area. Of course they do. And they are not predictable. What we know, as per Roger Balaam, as per Malay Mukul, etc., is that a big earthquake is due here, because it hasn't taken place for years. What is happening is that this Indian plate is subducting underneath this. This stress is building up, and sooner or later this stress has to give way. Okay? So if it takes place now, most probably it will be about 7.5 magnitude. If it takes place 200 years later, then it will be 8 or 8.5, because more stress would have gathered. Right? So it is not predictable at all. I believe there's Roorkee IIT which is doing some studies on predicting earthquakes, but it's just, as far as I know, there are 2 waves which are there, the P wave and the S wave. This is a difference in the timings, that it gives about 5 seconds warning. 5 seconds warning, they do a lot in Japan, where they stop the bullet trains and they get off and all that. So not get off actually, they stay inside the bullet trains, but at least they stop the bullet trains within that 5 seconds. Okay. I don't think there's any solution to earthquakes except that we make our structures more safe. Whatever structures are there, whatever structures we are building, we should make it earthquake resistant. And if it is possible, in the next line, if we can do retrofitting to our lifeline structures, okay, hospitals, schools, etc., then we should do the retrofitting. Now, I don't know whether it's possible, because retrofitting itself is a very, very costly job. Okay, so it's easier said than done, but certainly our lifeline structures, say for example here, Eden Hospital should definitely be retrofitted. It should be made earthquake resistant. And whatever new structures are coming up, we should have earthquake resistant structures. I believe that in Sikkim, that is what is happening. I'm not too sure. Of course, we should raise awareness. That's why I'm here. We should carry out regular earthquake drills, have sirens, etc., which Nepal is doing very, very well. Not only because of the earthquake that they had, but even before that, they were doing very, very well. We tend to be very, very lackadaisical about that. Okay? And search and rescue exercises, etc., should be carried out. This, if any of the people, whether the NGOs or any of the school teachers, college teachers, you should get after the NDRF, because the NDRF, the National Disaster Response Force, their work during the winters is only training. Okay, you should get these chaps to come here and help you with the search and rescue exercises, etc. Thank you so much. Okay, about landslides, okay, it's another disaster which is very, very common here. Okay, that can be managed to a large degree. In fact, landslides are perhaps the most manageable of disasters. Okay, the simplest thing is you look at the drainage. What David Petley says always comes to my mind. If you want to manage your landslides, manage your water. It's as simple as that. Okay. So if you look at the drainage, if you look at the landslide hazard zonation maps, and don't construct your stuff in these areas which are precarious. Okay. But what is happening is that our population is booming all over the mountains, and therefore people are not only settling in the areas which are already stable, but now they are forced to live in unstable areas. Okay. Early warning is possible. In fact, there is an early warning project which is successfully completed by Project Landslip, of which I had a small role. It is working in Darjeeling and Kalimpong districts. A bulletin is sent to the DM office every day by the GSI saying where landslides may take place. Okay? And that bulletin is made from computer models, rainfall thresholds, how much rainfall occurred in the last 3 days, how much rainfall is raining now, etc., etc. So that sort of early warning message is possible with landslides. Okay. Also, but the problem with landslides is that this hill might have landslides, this hill may not have landslides. Okay, because of various reasons, this hill might be landslide prone, this hill might not be landslide prone. So how do you issue an early warning message? Okay. Also, what is happening is that landslides are increasingly being caused by human interference. Okay. Roads, primary cause of landslides. Okay. And also building in the wrong places. Okay. So all these things which cannot be put into the model. The model that Project Landslip came out, and which GSI, the bulletin that GSI issues to the DM, does not have that part where the human interference is there. Okay? So that is the biggest handicap regarding early warning, but otherwise fairly good early warning messages can be sent, and so that is the thing that, and one thing which I'd like to tell you is that most landslides nibble. They do not gnaw. Anybody I have had the opportunity of working with the NDMA regarding landslides, and everybody has the impression that landslides are huge things which, come crashing down and they destroy a whole lot of people, and a whole lot of people die. Yes, that occurs. But most of the landslides which occur in our area are small landslides, shallow landslides, which destroy farmland, which destroy our roads, which destroy our houses. And those are the landslides which enough attention is not being paid to. Okay? So I did make this point when I was talking to the National Disaster Management Authority in February this year, and they did take it well. Okay? But landslides, we tend to think that these are huge things which occur and they cause a huge lot of damage. No, they do. But then they are the ones which nibble. Okay? And they are triggered by many factors, including rain, earthquakes, human activity, and so on and so forth. Okay? Okay. So living in the mountains is equal to living with risk. So, but what I'm coming to is that what I've been attending these many lectures which are, either online or in person, etc. The advances in technology is just phenomenal. Amazing advances in technology, whether it is in space technology, whether it is geology, or whether it is meteorology, or anything that you name it. The type of advances which are taking place is amazing. what is required now is that connect between that amazing technology which is taking place and people like us who are living here. Because we are the people who are affected. Okay? That technology is taking place here in some IIT, something. That technology to be translated for people like us, that is the disconnect which is taking place. And I wish our universities like North Bengal University or colleges or something could bridge the gap where this sort of thing comes to us. Okay, so for example, your smartphone can today be used very well as an early warning device. In fact, those of us who are in our group called Hazard Alerts, we do give warnings regarding heavy rainfall, etc., on the cell phone. Okay, cyclone tracks can be seen 1 week in advance, and these days cyclone track prediction has become so good that it's almost like as if somebody is sitting inside the cyclone and taking it and making it go at a particular place. Except that there are 1 or 2 rogue cyclones which have taken place last year, and I was quite surprised that the prediction went wrong. Otherwise, the prediction is absolutely bang on. Okay, say for example, in Bihar, the flood fatalities have come down a lot because the moment they have rain in Nepal, okay, the guys in Bihar are already working at it. So people close to the Nepalese border, they get about 1 day notice. Further down where it floods, where the Koshi and Ganga and all these places where these people get 2 hours of notice, and people are shifted away, cattle. So the technology is there. And cyclone fatalities have also decreased like mad. So here you see, in 1737, 3 lakh people died. Okay, in cyclone Nargis, which I was tracking, this was in 2008, 1,38,000 people died in Myanmar. Now, with our more recent cyclones, Cyclone Philin, 23 people dead. Where's 3 lakhs, where's 1 lakh and 23 people, even though even 23 matters. Okay, so this is the type of technology which is getting better and better every day. Okay, and of course, we have forecasting, which again I informed the hazard alerts people that now forecasting is not what the weather will be. Okay, now the forecasting is what the weather will do. Okay, because people are still not too receptive कि पानी भएको पर्छ, पुरा पानी पर्छ, पानी भएको पर्दा के गर्नुपर्छ भनेर थाहा छैन नि त अन्त. Okay, so now what is happening is that the forecast which is coming to you is called impact-based forecasting, where they'll tell you पानी भएको पर्छ, हो बाहिर नजानु, घरभित्रै बस्नु. That sort of forecasting is now coming, which is called impact-based forecasting. Okay, and of course, lightning also can be seen in. I could show it to you right now. Okay, lightning can be seen. You can see how far it is, when is it going to come close to you, etc., etc. But the sad part is the number of lightning strikes which are there have gone up sharply. So we need to be more careful regarding this. And of course, we've got the FLUS, which is called Flood Early Warning System, which is working quite well, and LUS, which is called Landslide Early Warning System, which I told you about in Kalimpong. So all these are is possible, right? And also as possible is something which also is affordable is this equipment, which I request most of you people. Gangtok is not working for ages now. I've been telling you. This gives you, the days have gone where you say, okay, how much did it rain yesterday? Today on my phone I can get how much it is raining in Kalimpong right now. Okay, right now that information real-time information is possible with this type of equipment. Okay, it just costs about 1.4 lakhs. I don't know why Siliguri doesn't have it. Am I running short of time? Okay. 1.4 lakhs, and there are numerous types of early warning stations which are available. This is one thing which I have, and this gives, okay, by the way, just to the youngsters who are here, I just want to tell you that landslides are not caused by the amount of rain. Okay, if you take that bucket of water, 20 liters, and you take that mound of earth and you pour it every day for 31 days, nothing is going to happen. Most probably little bit that soil will come down. right? But if you take that same bucket, 20 liters, the amount is the same. But you pour it in 2 days, that whole area will be full of landslides. So this is the difference, okay? And this equipment, and this is what will happen, you will have tremendous amount of runoff, which is absolutely useless for us. This type of rainfall, the 2-day rainfall, which gives us, 30% of our monthly rainfall, is absolutely useless because this only creates disaster. It does not recharge our aquifers. It does not do anything for our khet. Okay, it only does this, that it creates problems like that. Okay, and that is next to Anchal's house. And the type of information that you can get from the early warnings, the automatic weather stations is this, that, okay, this happened on 29th and 30th July. Rainfall started around 29th, at around midday, okay. It picked up slowly, okay. But I'm talking about rain intensity. I'm more bothered about the intensity than the amount of rainfall, because intense rain creates landslides, okay. So here you have rainfall intensity picking up around midday it starts, and then it goes towards midnight, and it stopped at 2 a.m. The intensity goes to 100 millimeters per hour. That is an insane amount of rainfall to get. Fortunately for us, it didn't sustain, but there's a very famous geographer who has written about it. In the Himalayas here, if we get 50 millimeters of rainfall or 30 millimeters of rainfall also, in a sustained period, we are finished. We'll have a major disaster in a sustained manner. Unfortunately for us, this is what's happening. It is not sustained. Okay, but it reaches a peak thing of 165 millimeters per hour. This comes out in my readout in my room. Okay, and what we got was, out of the 232, out of the 615 millimeters of rainfall monthly in July, we had 37% of rainfall within that short period, about 12 to 13 hours. 13 hours, we get 37% of the rainfall, monthly rainfall. This is what is the problem these days, the changing rainfall patterns, okay? And this is what happened. We had major disasters everywhere. This has been my basti, Bhalakop. There was a major landslide which started in Delo and ended up in Bhalakop. Luckily, nobody died, but it killed cattle, it destroyed people's houses, water sources, etc., etc., okay? Okay, I'm coming to the end of my talk, keeping some time for any questions that may be there. Okay, two low-tech we talked about high-tech and high-tech, etc., but now two low-tech thing of managing our landslides. Most of our landslides are like this, thankfully, okay. This is Nimbong in 2010, I had gone there. These are shallow landslides, okay. These are shallow landslides, and you can do lots to this, okay. The type that I recommend and which I've seen working is this. This is near Tista, okay. This was a landslide which the forest department controlled. What they've done here, see, first they've taken care of the water. They've taken the water away from the main landslide, and they put it in this type of thing where there's a run, where you control the speed by doing that Jhoda management thing, okay. And both sides also you hem the water in so that the water doesn't go all over. So you control the water, that's the first thing, okay. And below here, this is the peso ukalo, tista bada ukalo in bottom side. Below here, there is a stream. So to control that erosion, here there is concrete, if you see there, right? There is no concrete all over, okay. Here there is bamboo palisades. Amazing type of way of controlling, and then grass. Okay, so this controls the landslides in numerous places I've seen. I'm not talking just out of this. This is what it is now today. That same area is like this. This was that was 2011. This is 2017. 2011, 2017. Okay, and vegetation is a wonderful way of controlling, because the water is not allowed to go down in one big mess. It just allows the water to, slows down the water. Okay, so this is this thing, and of course this is in my own basti. Okay, this was 2 years back, I think. Thakuri Kansa, that's his name. Okay, Thakuri Kansa in Bhalukhop, they were doing this. Okay, notice that there is again the water is being managed. Okay, if you don't do that, you're finished. You can't do it. You have to manage your water, and then you do this bamboo palisades. When it rained in 2021, it rained 300 millimeters of rain over 2 days. It didn't. There were no landslides here, and this is a landslide-prone area. Okay, so this is the thing that they made. So this is what I recommend strongly for people. But unfortunately, there's no money in this because there's no concrete, there's no cement, etc. Okay, this is local material. This is a local material. Okay. And the second low-tech method of cleaning, doing something to our, to our landslides is clean your drains, for God's sake. This is the type of drains that we have. How the hell can we have any management of our landslides if we have drains like this? Right, I've finished. Thank you so much, Roshan. Thank you, everybody.